Member Honorable Oduol Adhiambo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for opportunity to contribute to this very important amendment bill. Madam Speaker, on the onset, I'd like to congratulate and thank Honorable Mwadime. Madam Speaker, when we look at this particular amendment bill, as has been observed by a number of speakers before, it really speaks to the core, not only of what is ailing our country, Kenya, today, but Madam Speaker, it really brings to bear our role, which would not only be dealing with legislation, amending the bill as we are doing now, but one which would be calling upon us to look at the population, look at the people in the constituencies, in the counties that we represent, and ensure that we are not only speaking on their behalf, but also seeking to exercise oversight on what is going on and how this is affecting the country. Madam Speaker, when we look in particular at the way that we would see from the amendment that we would want annual reports on details of human resource in constitutional commissions, in independent offices and county public service boards, as well as the county assembly service board, I'd like to draw our attention, Madam Speaker, to the practice in our country at the moment where we might not be thinking of the public service as the core, as the foundation, as really the heart that would keep our country going and enable it to prosper and to develop. Madam Speaker, when we think of countries like Singapore, when we think of countries like Malaysia, we on a number of occasions have sought to look at the way that Kenya at some point in the past seemed to have been on the same level with them, and we discover that they have now made a lot of progress. Madam Speaker, I submit that one of the key issues is because in those countries we are going to see that the public service is seen to be very, very critical, because the public service then becomes the fundamental cornerstone upon which we could look at the key values. One, transparency in what it is that we seek to do as we serve the community, we serve the country, we serve the interests of the different stakeholders that are in our country. Two, ensuring that there is a sense of accountability and that we do not have a situation where we are always pointing fingers and seeking to see who it is that we are blaming, be it on region, or religion, age, gender, or any other dimension. Three, when we look at ethics and seek to see that we do not always have to have the law or somebody looking over our shoulder, but that those who are in the public service, those who seek to then work to serve the community, are adhering to ethics, and of course, very important, Madam Speaker, leadership, which is a cornerstone. I would like, Madam Speaker, as I support this particular amendment bill, to draw the attention of the House that we have a committee that I belong to, Madam Speaker, the Committee on National Cohesion and Equal Opportunity. The committee, Madam Speaker, has indeed carried audits, because one of its mandates would be in working with the National Cohesion Commission to seek to ensure that we do not have a situation where diversity or differences that exist in our country become a bone of contention. Specifically, Madam Speaker, as indeed is reflected by this amendment bill, we in our committee seek to ensure that when we look at public institutions, and Madam Speaker, in our latest audit, we divided public institutions into parastatals, into commissions, into universities, that we would then want to determine, among other things, that when we look at the human resource, we would like to see the spread. And Madam Speaker, I'd like to share with the House that it would be useful that we might want to look at that report and the statistics, because I have seen, Madam Speaker, that there are times when, as we make statements, as has been observed, we either generalize and begin to then look like we are taking sides, or we make statements that we cannot indeed verify. I want to submit, Madam Speaker, that we really do need, in terms of how we would begin to bring the temperatures down and how we would also hold each other accountable, and very, very importantly, how we will make sure that the public service, which is what will not be changing every 5 years when we go for elections, becomes a fundamental core that would help to serve the needs of the people, to acknowledge that we indeed have found, as members of this committee, when we undertake audits, that indeed as a country, we currently stand at a point where there are indeed some ways in which there are communities that tend to be left out, and that there are communities that tend to be indeed appearing to have more of their share, especially when we look at public service and we look at public positions. And therefore, I invite Madam Speaker, because I know that members are aware that these reports are available, that we might want to look at that report. And I want to share, Madam Speaker, that indeed, Honorable Madime, by enabling us to debate this in a very open way here, has also helped us to begin to look within ourselves. I would say that even in our committee, as we debated and looked at a different public participation and sort of took into account the reports that were brought based on research that was done, particularly by the National Cohesion, we found that we sometimes bring our DNA. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, in Kenya currently, we need to acknowledge that there is a sense that we have lost the national ethos. There is a sense that because of the manner in which public resources are distributed, or the manner in which public resources are perceived to be distributed, that we tend, as the Honorable Dr. Nyikal had said earlier, to see ourselves more from the dimension of our, instead of seeing ourselves from the perspective of the Kenyan population. And it was a matter of concern, Madam Speaker, that even at times when we debate in committees, if you come with statistics that would show you that, for example, when you take public universities and you simply begin to rank that who do we have in the public universities in what positions, who do we have in the parastatals in what positions, who do we have indeed in terms of the way that we represent in the commissions. And you would find that there are a sense in which people and members and sometimes even general stakeholders would begin to start questioning the researcher. They begin to say, so if this is the result you're giving us, can we know what is it? How did you do this research? Why did you do it this way? I emphasize this, Madam Speaker, because I'd like to remind this House that we are privileged to be in this august House as legislators, as representatives of the people, as those who exercise oversight. And Madam Speaker, we have made reference to BBI. I would want to encourage all of us, because we are in a point in history, Madam Speaker, that we will be judged very harshly if we also just get overwhelmed sometimes by the energy that we see when we are out on the campaigns, and we do not, in this space where we can now take time to reflect, begin to raise the issues that are fundamental. I would like to encourage all of us to remember that when we talk about BBI, it is really on the backdrop of what we saw as the handshake, which, Madam Speaker, by itself pointed 9 issues, that one of which is really directly affected here. Madam Speaker, there was the issue of inclusiveness or inclusivity. Madam Speaker, there was the issue of unemployment, particularly when we look at the youth. Madam Speaker, there was the issue of the way in which we lack national ethos. Madam Speaker, there was the issue of corruption. Madam Speaker, there was the issue of tribalism. And Madam Speaker, indeed, as we looked at the country, there was a sense that we were saying, let us see the way that we can move forward. And for me, Madam Speaker, this particular amendment bill speaks to the core, because it enables us to begin to ensure that we put a nexus between inclusivity and good governance. If we have representation of the different age, gender, ethnic groups, it would help us. And therefore, Madam Speaker, I support.
Well, the Honorable Oduol Adhiambo, and we really continue praying that you get the strength following the loss of the angel.